Today I want to talk to you about the next industrial revolution. And it's happening right now. Companies are experiencing this great next phase of the industrial revolution because no matter what your company does, you're focused on the core business processes that enable you to deliver great products and services at competitive costs. Well, in the first industrial revolution, it was really the factory floor and manufacturing that was revolutionized. And in this next industrial revolution, it's not taking place on the factory floor, but it's actually taking place in the business's back office. I'm also going to talk about more recent history and what's happening with some very innovative building blocks that are essential for this next industrial revolution. What I'm referring to here is IT technologies such as ERP systems and the use of those technologies in creative and innovative ways, such as in outsourcing and shared services and business process outsourcing. These innovations have laid the foundation for this next evolution of industry. So this is a pop quiz. Who in the audience can tell me what this contraption is? Do you know who invented it? Exactly. James Watt. In many ways, it was the beginning of the first industrial revolution. People learned something very important at that time. And this was like the 1870s, around that time. People got the idea that math and science could be actually used to solve daily problems, everyday problems of how to get around, transportation, how to do work. It was the beginning of a move away from manual labor and using animals, draft animals, to do work, towards more of a dependence on machines. It had a revolutionary effect over the next couple hundred years, both on what people did for their occupations, their standard of life, even the population of the world. At the start of the 20th century, Henry Ford made a revolutionary advancement in manufacturing by automating the assembly line. And again, he was turning a slow manual process of basically hand building cars into a more automated, efficient process. And by the time he was finished with it, I think there were about one car every 15 minutes was coming off the assembly line at Ford, which enabled people to buy automobiles at a reasonable price. It, again, transforming the world. Today, mass-produced, manufactured items are all around us. There's hundreds just in this room itself. And that technology has enabled a better quality of life, a better standard of living for many people throughout the world. The next industrial revolution, which is happening right now, is not in the manufacturing line, but it's in the back office. So let me step back and talk about some of the technologies that are laying the foundation for this new industrial revolution, much the same as the steam engine did way back in the 1870s. With the proliferation of computing in the mid-1900s, mainframes and so forth, one of the first things that they were used for was to control and facilitate manufacturing. Originally, there were inventory control systems, and some of us in the room here may be old enough to remember MRP systems, manufacturing resource planning systems, which actually prepared the products and parts for the master production schedule for the factory floor. In the 80s, these MRP systems kind of underwent a new change, and they became more of an optimization environment for manufacturing, and broadened their facilities to handle not only the manufacturing, the shop floor, but the distribution of the goods and so on. And finally, towards the end of the 80s and 90s, these concepts were applied more broadly by enterprise resource planning software companies such as SAP, who said, well, this is not only a manufacturing concept, let's take it to a variety of industries for a variety of business processes, which since that time companies like SAP and others have done. Okay, so this graph shows the size of the ERP market share, something like a $25 billion market by 2012. And basically what I'm pointing out here is that these systems are quite pervasive throughout the world. There's a lot of functionality in them, and there's a lot of people that have implemented and are using them to some degree, and more that are doing that as each day. In addition, there's new trends in this marketplace where the in-house ERP systems that traditionally have run on computers in the companies that are running the ERP are being outsourced. The functionality is being put into the cloud. But still, most of the functionality sits within the corporations that run the systems. Well, this topic, I think, is very relevant in the Philippines, where in order to make these business processes more cost efficient, many companies have chosen to outsource some of this functionality. BPOs, I think, are a big market, as I understand it, here in the Philippines. And probably some of you in the room, can I see hands of who's either using a BPO or is a BPO? Yeah, quite a few. So, and these innovations have taken these ERP systems and really maximized a lot of their value in terms of where the processes are taking place. So, with the advent of ERP systems and the functionality that has been offered by them, as well as the ability to run them in various locations with cost efficiencies, the problem today is not really the cost or the time involved with these ERP systems so much as it is the consistency and accuracy of the results that they produce. This gets back to the basic problem of the business process itself. Just like the factory automation that Henry Ford put into place, if you don't have strong automation of the business process itself, a lot of these cost efficiencies and things that you can get from these modern systems are not fully realized. And that's what's happening right now in the new industrial revolution. Customers that I talk to, that my company works with, are focused on those key business processes, those core business processes that make the difference in their business. And they're saying, well, a lot of it's automated, but it's kind of islands of automation here and there. There's nothing really tying it all together and optimizing from end to end that business process. So what I'd like to talk about is process automation, and this is a term that I use to refer to both business process and what we call IT process. So the information technology people, the operations of the information technology, the ERP systems and other systems, those processes themselves can be automated and are being automated, as well as the actual core business processes that run the back office of your business. Things like finance, business intelligence, supply chain. So in order to better understand what companies are doing today, my company Redwood commissioned a third-party independent firm to study this. We did a study of 300 of the topic management of Global 1000 companies in the US and in the UK. About a third in the UK and 2/3 in the US. And we tried to spread it across a variety of sectors, including financial services, manufacturing, retail, so on and so forth. So the study had some interesting results, some of which were actually surprising. According to these top executives, average of about 39% of IT and business processes were automated in these companies. And businesses that, of course, valued the value of automation were a bit more automated, of course. And but you can see in the slide, 44% of the respondents in the U.S. said that they had automated processes. This was a surprise to me. On average, they estimated that 34% of the working time of their people was spent on repetitive manual processes. Now, these are companies that use ERP systems. They're highly automated as far as their computer and IT systems, but they're still spending about 35% of their time on these menial, repetitive tasks. And 98% of the people interviewed said that's too much time. We asked them, where do you think your business would best get best value for more automation? So what I'm sorry. What this slide is where do you think the value of automation is? What value will you get if you better automate your business processes and IT processes? And the answers were things like improved productivity, more flexibility and agile business processes. The IT people said, we're going to save time, we're going to save cost, we're going to eliminate errors from manual tasks. When asked what specific processes do you think sorely need better automation in your company. Answers focused around IT processes, the processes used by the computer operations people, business intelligence, financial closing. So this is the one that surprised me the most. These people, they know the value of automation. They know what processes would benefit by it. So you ask, so why don't you automate these processes? What's holding you back? And the two primary answers received. So on the left side, you have 63%, which said the process itself was too complex to automate. And on the right side of the slide, 52% of the people answered that we don't have in-house expertise. We don't have people with the knowledge of how to automate better than what we've already done. Well, that was quite a surprise, and actually a very welcome thing to a company like Redwood Software, who's in the business of process automation. My response to such people is, well, in an era where we've gone from Henry Ford's assembly line all the way to automation with machine tools that actually build the cars with hardly any human intervention. Why can't we automate these processes? Why are they too complex? And the fact is, we are automating these processes. They aren't too complex. And this is the next phase of the Industrial Revolution. These back office processes, business intelligence, financial close, supply chain management, they're partially automated by the ERP systems, but the full process is not automated. Clearly, there's opportunities for companies now to better automate using the tools that they already have. So the back office can now benefit from a new perspective, more in line with the Industrial Revolution. Why can't the back office be automated like the manufacturing floor? So at Redwood, we're observing that if you look at the excellence of a business, the excellence of business processes, it's key to understand the relationship with the quality of the process and the consistency of the process. And we actually have measurements for this type of thing. So in any business, excellence depends on how consistently you execute any activity with high quality. If you have an activity with high quality results, you want to execute that way as consistently as possible. That's the way you produce the best quality car. That's the way you produce the best quality financial results at the end of the month, the best reports. So we actually measure this excellence in our customers. And the way we do that is by determining what the expected results of a particular process are against the actual results. And we multiply that by the consistency of those results. And basically our assumption is that any business process is a series of tasks, and the more automated those tasks are, the more consistent it's going to be. It's common sense. And from this we can actually measure the excellence of the business process in our customers. When we do that, we can also determine which stage of maturity they are at in their automation. I'm not going to go through this in full detail, but you can see at the lowest level of automation maturity, there's no standardization of the process. no real documentation. It's really dependent on the people and their brains, and they know what to do. It puts a lot of pressure on those people, and it causes lots of stress. It's hard for them to change the business process, to be innovative with it. And we can measure, and it's 5 levels of this maturity of automation, all the way up to what we call visionary companies. You know, in the second level, companies begin to document their process. They try to standardize some of it, but still it's inconsistent. They don't have very much automation in the picture. As they put in more automation, then they begin to get consistent performance, fewer errors, less stress on the people. And actually, as the automation gets stronger, what we see is that people's time can be reallocated. No longer are they, it's kind of like the Industrial Revolution, right? Originally, it was manual labor. In this case, it's people kind of glued to computer screens or reading reports output from the ERP systems and just waiting for something to happen on the screen and then reacting. As those repetitive manual tasks are lessened, those people can be reallocated to more higher value work for your company. So this isn't future stuff. This is happening today. These are some of the companies that are, in our opinion, on the kind of leading edge of some of this type of automation. Companies like Amazon, who has the strategy of trying to give, you know, instant gratification for somebody who wants to buy something, even to the extent of experimenting with drones recently, you probably know. But they have an automated system where when someone online makes an order, it automates the delivery and fulfilling of that order in an end-to-end fashion. It's quite a sophisticated system. AOL, in the past year or so, has seen a huge upsurge in their advertising for banner ads online. And in order to actually accomplish that, they've put in an automated system that measures in real time people looking and clicking through their ads and actually billing the vendors that are responsible for those advertisements. It's all automated. French Connection is a retail store that I've worked with that has automated their inventory transfer during the night. It used to be people looking at the reports and the screens from the ERP system, you know, during the wee hours of the night, saying, okay, well, we need more product shipped over here, and the weather is cold over here, so we better get some sweaters over there. Now, that whole process is automated, and the analysis occurs, and the shipments are made. These are companies that had ERP systems, much of it outsourced, that are now entering or have entered the new phase of the Industrial Revolution. So, if you're a company that isn't automating to the fullest extent, these are some of the risks that you encounter. And it's common sense: inconsistent results, errors that are introduced by the people having their hands in the process, non-compliance, and simple delays, waiting for someone to read the report and then email or telephone the next guy and say, okay, run the next step of the process. So what I want to do now is just give you a kind of concrete example. I've been talking kind of on the conceptual level. I want to give you some very concrete example of what is a process that can be automated and why it should be automated and how it's automated. what the results are. Every company, every organization does a financial close at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year. Accountants and controllers are doing their day jobs, but when the end of the month comes and the beginning of the next, they shift into overdrive and have to do additional work, manual work, to accomplish the financial close. So this is a process that is still highly manual. There are three main parts of this process with many tasks in each sector. First, the inputs to the close. So all the data from the bank, from various computing subsystems, files, has to be loaded into the process, so the preparation. And then the actual running of the close at the business entity level. So maybe, a company may have 100 different entities that they close the books. And during that process, reconciliations are done, allocations, auto postings. The finance people in the room know a lot more about it than I do. And then there are the outputs from the close. What happens after those individual entities books are closed, then it gets all consolidated up at the corporate level. So I'm not going to get too deep into this, but I want to give you some concrete example here. Every financial close task, every task and there are hundreds usually, or maybe even thousands of tasks in any month-end or period-end close, they go through these separate steps. First, the data is prepared, all the inputs are prepared. Then the actual transactions or whatever needs to be executed gets executed. Then those results that come out are validated, usually by people looking at screens or reading output. And these validations are things like, well, did this balance equal 0, or do these two numbers match, or is it within a 10% tolerance? If it's not, then there may be some kind of exception. Something went wrong during the process. And so that needs to be documented. People need to be notified. Some correction needs to be done. The process run again, or the task run again. Hopefully it gets corrected that time. Someone has to validate that it got corrected, that indeed it now equals 0. And then that correction needs to be documented, notified, and then the next task can start. So if you go to your BPO vendor, or if you go to your IT department and say, have we automated our financial close process? You might get an answer, yes. And what you're going to hear from your IT department is, yes, we've already taken care of that. What they've actually done is taken care of these first 2 steps of the process for the vast majority of customers. What they've done is they've built custom programming that controls the ERP or the financial system that's actually executing the close. And then they're managing that with a job scheduler, which is a technology that is able to schedule the different tasks at different times. That's, even for a fairly sophisticated company, that's the level of automation that is current until the new industrial revolution. What my company helps customers with is to really build world-class automation into the financial period-end close. All these manual tasks for validating the information that comes out of the systems, handling those exceptions, documenting what was done, a lot of the manual tasks in this latter part of the process can be automated. How do companies actually do this, do their close? Well, it's really interesting how primitive it is. It's kind of like Henry Ford. They have a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet, or many spreadsheets, one of the customers I'm working with has 120 spreadsheets that they use to do their close. And so a person who's involved with the close reads, okay, the next step in the process is line 2. And so they do whatever line 2 task is, and they input that into their ERP system. Well, you'll notice right away there's no connection between the spreadsheet and the ERP system. And then they get the output, they inspect the output, and move to the next step or correct what didn't happen correctly. This is a very time-consuming process, labor-intensive. There's limited visibility of where you are and what you're doing because there's no connection between the tasks in the spreadsheet and the underlying systems that are executing those tasks. And very poor controls. There's no electronic record that an auditor can go back to and say, okay, here's exactly what was done. Now I'd like to run a short video which shows one of our customers, an SAP customer who's actually automated their financial close.
Hello, my name is Sandy Hartman and I'm from the Dow Chemical company. Dow Chemical is a company that's been around for over 100 years. We do over $50 billion in sales and have over 50,000 employees. Dow works in performance and basic plastics as well as performance and basic chemicals, agricultural sciences, hydrocarbons, and energies. We have about 750 companies in about 60 different countries. Dow has been a customer of SAP for over 20 years, and we started to look at upgrading our product, and we turned to ECC 6.0. And one of those products that we brought in was the financial closing cockpit, along with the central process scheduling tool from Redwood, to allow us to build the global close schedule with one template and implement that globally throughout Dow. Dow was looking for a product that gave us one-stop shopping. We really wanted to go one place to see where we were in our close schedules. So everybody knows now that we do that with Excel spreadsheets today, but with the financial closing cockpit, it gave us a template that we could go out and see where all the jobs were running, what time they were running, if they were running on time, or if they were running longer than expected. The portal view gives not only myself running the close, but the other employees here at Dow can go ahead and log onto the portal and find out where we are in that close process. SAP has truly been a partner in our journey to implement the financial closing cockpit. They have held our hand along the way. They've taken a lot of our input and actually put a lot of that in Enhancement Pack 5 and cared so much about our input. My team went over to Waldorf, Germany and actually helped test the Enhancement Pack 5 solution. Dow has actually implemented a lot of the critical manual tasks into the financial closing cockpit. So if someone needs to review a spreadsheet, they're notified with an email, they go ahead and they check that task list off online. From there, if there's any dependencies, those kick off automatically without any manual intervention, without receiving any emails or any phone calls. The ease and the flexibility of the financial closing cockpit is actually fantastic. We go out and we schedule the actual tasks in the template, schedule the times when those templates are going to run, and when we kick off the jobs, every single task runs when it needs to without even have to checking that. I've actually went in this morning, totally forgot about it for a few days. Everything ran as scheduled, everything ran on time, and it's fantastic. I don't have to worry about the close this way.
Okay, I think we can stop it there. So you saw how Dow is benefiting. I think the quote is great. She doesn't have to worry about it. She just lets it run. This is another customer that I can't tell you the name of this customer, and I think that's probably because they are kind of embarrassed by how poor their financial close was. originally until Redwood helped them. But it's the largest electronics firm in Germany. So you can probably guess who it is. When we walked in the door, they had approximately 1,000 tasks that they went through every month end to close their books using spreadsheets. As you can see from the slide, 680 of them were manual, 20 had been automated, and 300 were undocumented. And let me tell you what that means. So in their spreadsheet, they had, 700 tasks. But what we do for customers is we go in and we actually run system log files from the SAP system that they use so that we can see exactly what they did during their close. We get like 3 months of data. And so we can see what they did, and we can compare that to what's in their spreadsheet. And in the case of this company, there were 300 tasks that were just in people's heads. They weren't on the spreadsheet, but they were being done. We took that information and we automated as much of it as we could with guidance from the customer. And it's important to note that what we do is we take the basis of what's in the ERP system and the way that they do their financial close. And as you know, every company does it slightly different. We don't say, okay, you have to change the way that you do your financial close to meet our standard. No, we take exactly what they do and we automate that. With this particular customer, we were able to automate 970 of the 1,000 jobs, and the other 30 were best left to human judgment. So we get back to my measure of excellence. When we walked in the door, this process had about a 1% level of excellence when you look at the quality of the results versus the consistency. Only 20 of the tasks were automated when we walked in. And when we walked out, they had a level of excellence at the 97% level. This is the next industrial revolution. In general, through a couple of years of experience in this marketplace, we've seen that most companies have more than 80% of their financial close tasks are still manual, and more than 70% of them can be automated. This translates to an ROI, of course, and I won't spend a whole lot of time here, but for an average company with 78 separate entities that they're closing, we see a cost savings on average in the first year of 3.7 million US dollars. Of course, if it's a very small company with not many entities to close, well, this kind of solution is not necessarily cost effective for them. They'll get more accurate results out of it, but it's still maybe not, if you have a very small organization, it may not be worth it. A lot of the cost comes in the manual, repetitive activities, and it's important, especially I think in the Philippines, to understand that what we say is that we're not trying to replace people with machines. What we're trying to do is refocus those people on higher value activities. We don't want people losing their jobs unnecessarily. Of course, that's up to the customer to decide what they do with this automation. But our recommendation is to take those good people and give them more value-added tasks than just looking at eyeballs on screens and checking to see if 0 equals 0. Financial close is just one of the processes that can be automated in this type of fashion. Business intelligence, supply chain, customer service, billing. We have a lot of utilities companies that do mass billings of hundreds of thousands, millions of people. Automation in that space is very exciting. Again, you get reduced operating costs, your IT investment is more optimized, and you reduce the risk. You have more consistency in the results. In the next industrial age, operational excellence will be defined by the quality of the business processes, these core business processes, and their consistency. Just a bit about my company. Redwood Software is actually headquartered in Holland. We were founded in 1993, and we have about 3,000 customer installations all around the world. One of our key partners is SAP, who actually embeds our software inside of their NetWeaver ERP platform. And in countries like the Philippines, we work extensively with our key partners. Thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it.